From Maximum PC here at CES 2015. I'm here at AMD's suite speaking with Richard Huddy. And Richard, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Well, you're looking at me, the chief gaming scientist, but if you move the camera over to the monitors, you'll see three. There's a Nixius monitor here running running Lara Croft, looking particularly beautiful with their lovely Tress effects, but you'll notice the frame rate up in the top left-hand corner. That's just running Fraps, and we're seeing 34 frames a second, 35, 37, that kind of stuff. If the camera does a good job here, what you'll notice is you never get a tear and you never get a stutter. What's happening is that FreeSync is smoothing the experience out in a way that sync to VBlank or don't sync to VBlank never do. You will always get stuttering or tearing if you're in this kind of frequency range. And right now it's gone up to about 54 frames a second, and like I say, if this video is faithful, there will have been no stutter, no problems along the way.
Yeah, as someone behind the camera, I can say I'm looking at it right now and I don't see any stuttering or tearing.
It is beautiful smoothness, and certainly what we have seen in the marketplace where people have commented on G-Sync, that they feel like they're playing at 60 frames a second when actually they're only getting 40 or 50 because the smoothness is there. And FreeSync solves exactly the same problems in exactly the same way, so no surprise, you get the same kind of benefit, the same kind of smoothness is there. This is a monitor which is a regular 4K monitor that's going to be arriving in the marketplace this quarter. This one's from Nixius. If we switch right, we have a Samsung 4K monitor which is also coming this quarter. And then going one step further over to the right here, we have an LG widescreen monitor, which is 21:9 aspect ratio and is running at, I think it's 4K by 1440. And I've misspoken about the first monitor. It's not 4K, it's 2560 by 1440. So these three resolutions are different, and in fact the monitor technology underneath is different as well. The one in the center here is IPS, I believe. We have TN on the left, and then the other alternative to IPS here on the right. And the point about this is the selection of choice. You have, in these three monitors, and these are representative of the kind of things that manufacturers are bringing to market, you have a great deal of choice. You have a gaming monitor which is perhaps targeted at high frame rates and low resolution. You have a higher quality monitor. Samsung are, the world leaders. They have about 60% market share in 4K monitors. They're aiming clearly at a higher quality of experience still. And we are seeing vendors coming to market over this next quarter. We're expecting at least 11 different monitors to come to market by the end of Q1 2015 that will support FreeSync. And they will come in a variety of different manufacturing styles, aspect ratios, etc. So you get a great deal of choice. One of the interesting observations, we're not actually seeing it here, is that Iyama are actually shipping a monitor right now which is technically FreeSync capable. If you buy one of those monitors, you'll be able to send it back to the factory and get a firmware update which will enable FreeSync when that arrives in their firmware update in February or March thereabouts. And what that shows is that there is no price premium for FreeSync. They're already selling a FreeSync capable monitor, and all you've got to do is get the right kind of software into the system. So we expect this to be rapid, broad adoption. I can find you the model numbers on all those 11 different models that will be available by the end of Q1. We know of at least 20 models that will be available by the end of 2015, so a very wide spectrum indeed. And that 20 is just those which we know are going to be announced. Samsung, for example, when they announced that they were going to adopt FreeSync, said not only, oh yes, here's 2 models, but we will shift our entire 4K set. All of those SKUs will go to FreeSync over 2015. So while I can't say exactly how many will come from Samsung, and it'll be up to them to price them in their own way in the marketplace and release them in their own timetable, this is a tidal wave of a new technology which should cost the consumer little or nothing extra, will benefit every single consumer who has AMD hardware, and who knows, maybe will benefit consumers who have NVIDIA hardware if NVIDIA are kind enough to pick up FreeSync. It is an open standard, it's easy enough for them to do. It's a great standard, really beautiful, smoothness everywhere. This demo you can turn it on and off and you can see what the effect is. You get a little bit of stutter if you turn it on, you get no stutter whatsoever if you don't. We also have a simple version of it that shows the tearing. It's the kind of thing you really need to see in person, and we're very much hoping we'll be able to get to Max PC in February, say hi to you guys and show you the monitors and test out a few games.
Okay.
It's beautiful stuff.
So how does this differ than G-Sync? Like, what is technologically speaking?
So technologically speaking, it's got two fundamental superiorities that I would point to. One is that it's a monodirectional communication. A monitor is something where you send an absolute torrent of information to it, which is the frame data, and you send a new frame every 60th or 100th of a second or thereabouts. Huge amount of data going in one direction. And that's the way all monitors have been designed, except G-Sync monitors, which have a necessity to sync between the two parts, the graphics card and the monitor, every frame. And that introduces an extra latency which is not present in FreeSync, and we expect to be able to measure that latency benefit for FreeSync. We expect to be able to measure that with production monitors sometime in the next month or 2 months. That's number one, so there's no latency to it. Number two, you can see what's going on this monitor. Over here in the top left, we've got some stuff which is being displayed within DirectX. That's part of the application, and that doesn't take any cleverness. Applications can do what they like with the pixels. But the stuff that's going on in the bottom right here is not being displayed by DirectX. If you do a screen capture, you won't capture any of this. This is part of the on-screen display that comes from the manufacturer. They choose what to put there. Well, if you have a proprietary module from NVIDIA, you get what NVIDIA choose to give you. If you have this open standard, if you have FreeSync, then you get what the manufacturer wants to give you instead. And that means the typical benefits of a consumer in a market where multiple vendors really do believe they want to go after that. So you'll get things like an on-screen display which lets you do anything that that particular manufacturer has chosen, and that'll be a wide gamut of features. And perhaps the most tangible benefit, not a technical benefit, but you'll end up with more money in your pocket.
You're saying it's cheaper?
There's no doubt about it. The Iyama monitor, which I mentioned is already in the marketplace and which is going to be capable of being updated to FreeSync, that is priced at the moment, it's a 4K monitor, it's priced at $600. It uses the same panel as the Asus ROG $1,050 monitor, which is G-Sync enabled. Now, that's not saying that I expect it always to be an extra $450. I don't, that's crazy. But there is no justification for that kind of extra price if you look at the benefits of FreeSync. It will just be cheaper for everyone. And if you want an extra $450 in your pocket, at the moment you do it by buying FreeSync. Generally, we expect it to be more like $150 overall, but that's pretty significant.
So which cards are these monitors going to work with at the moment?
So right now the AMD cards that support FreeSync, and it's fair to say it's not all, the R9 260 series, the R9 290, including the 295X2, and the 285. So that's the discrete cards that support it, and everything that we have from Kaveri onwards on the APU side already supports it too. All our future discrete GPUs will support it, so if we update any of the cards and give you a new model number, one of the reasons why we'll be doing that is not just because we want to rebrand, which is kind of a vacuous activity sometimes, but actually because we want to add things like FreeSync. Our future discrete GPUs are all going to support FreeSync too.
Is it possible that we might see more backwards compatibility in the future? Or is it a technical limitation?
So it's a technical limitation.
Okay.
Yeah, the ability to dynamically update the frame rate is something which is only present in certain display controllers, and if those display controllers aren't built into the GPU, we can't fix that.
Okay, just going back a little bit about, when you're talking about G-Sync, you're saying it adds a little bit of latency. Mm-hmm. What are you guys doing differently that sort of combats that?
Oh, it's true monodirectional communication. The startup process for FreeSync. Yeah, I'm a bit of a ham speaker. The startup process for FreeSync is, hey, you're a monitor, can you do FreeSync? Yes. Okay, what frequency range do you support? Say 30 to 60. 30 to 60 is a pretty good frame rate to support, a frame range, frequency range to support. And that's what we're seeing in these monitors here, I believe, 32 to 60. Because that rate is negotiated up front and the monitor is giving a guarantee that it can accept frames in that frequency range, what happens is the graphics card from then on is only in push mode. It never pulls data back. It never says, oh, are you ready for the next frame? It always knows, because the monitor has made a promise, it always knows that the monitor will be ready if the graphics card is ready within its allotted time period. So long as it can keep time properly, and that's a part of the display controller that we were just talking about, then you only have this monodirectional communication, and it's super sweet. As soon as you go outside that frequency, then you have a choice about what you do. Do you want to lock to V-blank, or do you want to go off and allow tearing? That's going to be a user configurable choice. But it's only one directional communication. The GPU says, I've got a frame ready, sticks it into memory, and then says, you may now pull it to the pushing it down DisplayPort, and the DisplayPort adapter, which receives it, doesn't have to say anything back to the GPU to communicate the completion of transmission, etc.
Gotcha.
And it's really important, actually. It's like a fire hose. If you're pushing water down a fire hose, trying to send information from the fire truck to the fire, the one thing you would not do if you're designing this kind of thing is every now and then check. Oh, excuse me, down the fire hose. Excuse me, is the water arriving at the fire? Yes. Oh, okay, start again. Yeah, you do that on a high frequency, you are guaranteed to add extra latency. I don't know what it is, but I know it isn't zero.
Okay. Would you say it's enough to affect gameplay?
We expect it to be measurable, yeah.
Hamilton, Canada.
Yeah. And one of the things, I went to the LG stand yesterday and looked at their rather beautiful widescreen monitor. They have a gaming mode there, which is dedicated to, the closest they can get to zero latency in the pipeline in the hardware that they're building. So they're specifically targeting maximizing the response rate of the monitor and minimizing the delay that you get from mouse to pixels.
Wrong.
Cool. I look forward to receiving one and testing it.
Well, we're hoping we can come along in a month's time or so and show them to you in person. Look forward to that too.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rich.